What scientists came up with 160 years ago was sold and bought by British royalty, European royalty, and robber barons, and American robber barons all signed on to it, all funded it, and our entire world has been governed by the science fiction dreams of people 160 years ago. And now the institutions are built, the machinery has been set in motion, and our entire society is this fake one we live in with fake money and fake values and fake news. And then above us, the scientific elite, Bill Gates, Ted Turner, the rest of them running around, jacking our vaccines, everything else. Oh, God. Oh, God. So horrible. It's so exhausting. I had a lot of energy this morning, but I am just exhausted now. And people say, well, Alex, don't be so negative. I'm not trying to be negative. But you've got to admit how bad things are. If your leg was chopped off, you're bleeding to death, you got to put a tourniquet on it. You don't go, well, I believe I'll just be positive and say it's a mere flesh wound and I'll be fine. You know, it just doesn't work. This country, this world, has been given over to a great and powerful delusion. And the more that the deception is pulled from my eyes, the more I stare into the heart and soul of the New World Order, the more I am not even angry or even frustrated anymore. I am sad. Because let me tell you, it's not people that want money and power that are running things. It's people that love pain and destruction and death, and they want control to do horrible things. You can call it the devil, whatever you want. If there's not a devil, these people might as well be devils, because I can't imagine a devil being like this. It is so destructive. It is so evil. It is so out of control. We're going to go to Casey, Michael, Eric, Josh, Matthew, and others here in just a moment. Then I'll get into some more news here today. But we're not a negative radio show. The things we talk about are happening. I wish they weren't. But denying it's going on only makes it worse. Denying it's happening only makes it worse. And there's so many thousands of different flavors of bull out there. But if you go read globalist white papers, study history, research their program, study the scientific megalomania of these people, you understand what's going to happen. And it is an incredible responsibility to be one of the few outlets. And luckily, we understood this in the last decade. We got a clearer image of it. And 17 years ago, not so much, but I was still doing some good then. It's all a wake-up process for all of us. But the last decade or so, I've really cracked the code of these people and figured out exactly what they're about. And now it's becoming very evident we were completely right and then some. And we've got a fighting chance. And I'm seeing a lot of other people click to our lens, because we all see things through a lens, but our lens really decodes the globalist operations. And if you've got the will, you can see what we see. And let me tell you, I say the will because you're going to be living with the devils every day. I mean, you think you see evil now, folks? When you actually pull back the curtain, it's everywhere. And let me tell you, it is not fun. Somebody mailed me an animated movie called Dead Space 2. It's like a movie off a video game. And really, it's I would say kind of an adaptation of that Russian film where the cosmonauts are out at this planet, and the planet itself's like an entity or, is haunting them or whatever. And I'm not saying I believe that stuff's real. What I'm saying is, this morning I was on the treadmill watching it, and they go dig up this artifact on the planet, and Dead Space 2 is like once the rescue ship gets there. And the rescue ship's actually the big global corporate government, the galactic government that's killing its own people and torturing them to get answers. And they sent them out there to be a setup, kind of like an Alien, where they send the mining crew on their way back to land on a planetoid to dig something up. And, they don't find out till 50, 60 years later when they get back, or one of them gets back, that it was all a setup. They were sent there as guinea pigs. See, they tell you in all these movies, but I'm watching this, and in the first episode, I'm going to your calls, they've blown up part of the planet to destroy this artifact that basically caused all these mutations on the ship and all this horrific stuff to happen. It's like a DNA generator. A mutation generator, basically, or at least that's how it's operating, malfunctioning. Some ancient 56, million-year-old artifact. And they go back, they want pieces of it. So they send them back down to get pieces of it. And one guy picks up a piece, and then it basically causes him to start hallucinating. But he's not really hallucinating. He's like seeing interdimensionally, and it's manipulating him. He sees like his dead daughter, the little girl who got run over by a car, and it shows that happening to her. And then it basically tries to lead him off the edge of a cliff. And then, he's seeing all these horrible demon creatures grabbing on his daughter, trying to pull her into him. And it basically maneuvers him into, killing a bunch of the crew. But again, it's that archetype. That's not real. But that's basically what the globalists manifest. They trick us. They manipulate us. They play humans like a concert pianist plays a piano or a concert violinist plays a violin. They manipulate us. And that goes without saying, but the manipulation is so many layers deep. And then when you really research it, you find out they did all this just because they like to kill people, and they're a bunch of sickos, and then good people are smarter and are better and more creative, but good people never reach for that stuff. They never would think to manipulate. They would never think to learn all these bad things. They would never think. So we're like blind to these people. And I watch the population like a bunch of lobotomized sheep with these demonic wolves tearing their guts out as the sheep smile and thank them. I mean, it's unbelievable. And it's like that, an archetype of just seeing the demons everywhere. Well, that's how it is for me to watch the news or read things or see the propaganda or hear it. Is that it's always in my face. It's always there. It's always, and my whole will is set against it. But then I look at all the servants of this evil. They're 99% of them are compartmentalized and have no idea what they're part of. Have no idea. If they knew, there's no way that they would ever be part of this. But even though a lot of them have the intelligence to grasp it, it's spiritual and it's discernment. And they won't admit the first levels of it to themselves. They certainly can't ever get the deep wisdom. And that's what Christ said, while they're torturing him. He says, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do." Those Romans flaying off his skin for no reason with his bones sticking out, getting off on the pain. They thought they were law and order. They were getting a bad guy. And it's like that with the special forces soldiers that work for all major governments that have been trained to do horrible crimes. And now the video games because I read about them, simulate torturing people to get answers. Or I saw a video game last week, was show me, where you kill cops because it's for the greater good, so the bomb doesn't blow up and blow up the Brooklyn Bridge. Because the cops are going to end up killing the guy with the bomb, and it's going to detonate. So that doesn't happen. They kill the cops, but it's for a greater good. Once that idea is introduced, once that virus is introduced, it's over. And the sickest part is they take some of the best men who really believe they're doing good, and once they commit small evils in the name of a greater good, now they psychologically will produce an envelope or a membrane around that where they'll do more evil things and never admit any of it's wrong because they couldn't be a bad person. When you figure out that the devil's chariot is pulled by people that think they're saints, oh, man. All I can say for those of you that have decided to serve the system, you better think twice. You better pray to God to open your eyes. Or if you've ever had bad feelings about what you're doing but you don't know why, you better assess what you're part of. And you're signing on to pure evil. I mean, you're signing on to something that's beyond anything I could even articulate, beyond anything I could even grasp. I marvel at the beast. I marvel at the monstrosity that it is. I mean, it is just like a deer in the headlights for somebody who could even grasp it, to smell it. All right, I said I'd go to your calls, and I apologize. Casey, and then Michael and others. Casey in Illinois, you're on the air. Welcome.
Alex, great to talk to you. I want to say thanks for everything you're doing to wake everybody up. Just a few points to make. Yesterday you were talking about how they're irradiating everybody, and they're irradiating themselves, the elites. Well, they have a drug called X-Rad, and it reverses radiation poisoning and stuff, and that's 10 years ago.
And so why don't they give it to the troops? Why don't they tell the public about it?
Patients or anything. And another point I wanted to make, actually was an idea on how you could spread the word. You got that, was it the InfoWars or Info Store or whatever, where you got listeners selling stuff for you?
Yes, sir.
You could take water bottles, fluoride-free water, and put different stickers on there with different facts and stuff about the New World Order. You know, they can go out and sell those.
There's a lot of great ideas. I think the number one thing is people are ready to hear the truth. We need people who will deliver it to them. And that's why all of you need to get involved. I mean, I can't believe, but I do believe that they've had a bunch of, quote, conservative courts confirm Obamacare when it's so obviously unconstitutional to have the federal government compel you to buy something. I mean, give me a break. The Pandora's box of this. And then now they argue, well, because we already have socialized health care, people getting free health care that are poor, we all pay for it anyway. See, that's the trap of collectivism, is that we're already paying for it, to collectivize it all. And that Newt Gingrich is soaring in the polls when he's called for global government and global carbon taxes. I mean, it just shows how truly deceived the public is, but also how the media pushes it. Anything else, sir?
Yeah, one more thing. I had an idea on how to spread the Christmas cheer. Everybody could go to Walmart and buy Penn State pajamas and mail them to the Pope.
Buy 10 what type of pajamas?
Penn State pajamas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate your call. You could mail them to the CPS. I mean, you've got to know that almost every CPS head is a pedophile. And I'd say around half of them that work there are pedophiles. That's why they've got a 57% turnover national average that came out last year. Because a lot of people get in to actually help kids and are like, you mean this is a bunch of perverts? They're like, yeah, keep your mouth shut or you're dead. I've talked to some of the workers. And so, I mean, I told Paul last week, I said, post this judge saying he's taking a family's kids in divorce proceedings because they're arguing. You know, just take them. And I said, look up the statistic. I know that you're 5 times more likely to be abused physically in CPS custody than any other